Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamline Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. So, one of the new offerings that we have at Streamline Legal this year is called our new user training, and that's for Clio users. And while it's designed for any team member in the law firm that's new to using Clio, so far we've only had attorneys attend our training classes. And consistently they're commenting about how much they learned in this class. And these are people that have been using Clio for at least a couple of months, right? And it reminded me of just generally the lack of training in law firms, right? Now, I think these law firms have got it right. They sent their attorneys to our training, and I think that's fantastic. But they're the exception, frankly. I mean, most firms in the United States that we hear about and talk to don't offer any training. And so I hear about it all the time. We've talked about how I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, not only with attorneys, but with paralegals as well. Paralegals are complaining all the time that they're not getting any training. And even associate attorneys I've heard complain in real life about how, they just aren't getting the training that they think would be really helpful. And so from a business owner perspective, this just doesn't make sense to me, right? And so I pulled up some statistics to try and give us a better idea of what this is costing us, right, from a business owner perspective. So according to the Dale Carnegie Training Center, 40% of employees who receive Porge training leave their companies within a year, right? And so when you take that statistic of 40% of the employees who receive poor job training leave within a year, then you look at the statistic from the Center for American Progress, which reports that replacing an employee can cost 20% of the annual salary for employees who make between $30,000 to $50,000 a year, right? And up to 213% of the annual salary for highly trained executives, right? If you would consider an attorney anywhere between the 30,000 to the highly trained executive, now we're at 20 to 213% of their annual salary is basically what it cost to replace someone, right? And so the next time that you consider training or hear about your team's challenges that maybe could be improved with training, I would highly encourage you to run those numbers and see if it makes sense for you to spend $5,000, $10,000 on training your team instead of significantly more in replacing them in less than a year, right? So those are the numbers that I think about as a business owner when I'm thinking about replacing employees or having to spend money to train employees. And how does that make sense, right? What are we comparing and what are we looking at when we make those decisions as business owners? So by the way, if you feel like your team can benefit from this new user training, reach out to us because I promise you it costs significantly less than that. And it will put your team in just a much better position. But whether you get your training through us or anywhere else, online or in person, please do consider that training. Give that some consideration for the rest of this year or for next year's budget when you're making a plan so that you can go ahead and put your team in a winning position and not cost yourself even more having to replace them. Thanks for joining me tonight. Have a great evening.